Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that takes the lead in today's edition for Wednesday, 19th June 2024, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. Jamaica opposition calls for the dismissal of Daryl Vaz over the ride-share stalemate. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. Jamaica's Prime Minister told to fire Daryl Vaz after Transport Ministers foul up on the ban that turns out to be no ban on the ride-sharing apps in Jamaica. More in this TVJ News item with Nikinsky Robinson.
Ban or no ban? And who can? Questions the opposition spokesman on transport, Mikhail Phillips, says are now floating around after the farce involving ride-sharing apps. Mr. Phillips admitted he had no issue with the ban.
No, we supported it. You know why we supported it? Because there's a national security issue. And we supported it.
But for him, the way the Transport Minister Daryl Vaz went about things was an embarrassment.
When a minister can come to Parliament without finding out the facts of his powers, make an announcement, and then 1 week after to come and say that the ban that he had made, that there's no ban at all because he did not have the power to even institute a ban. That minister needs to be fired because what else is he fooling the people of Jamaica about?
Turning to another transport sector-related issue, bad roads and the cries to fix them, Mr. Phillips again feels the multi-billion-dollar Spark program can work.
But it's how that we're going to get it done in a way that you have longevity in the roads that are constructed, but also it's not only highways, but the interlands of the country.
But he reasons that if the government continues with the proposed formula, most Jamaicans will not feel the benefits of the Spark program.
29,000 kilometers of road right across the island will not get touched by the Spark program.
So this is his long-term proposal.
The solution for the deplorable conditions of our road is for Jamaica to have a dedicated road maintenance fund. That's the only solution.
He says dedicating funds in this way may, however, displease Jamaica's multilateral lending partner, the International Monetary Fund.
But sometimes we don't have to listen to the IMF when it is not in the best interest of our people.
Mr. Phillips was speaking at a divisional meeting in Greenville, Manchester, Saturday. Nikinsky Robinson, TVJ News.
CARICOM and African Union to sign an MOU towards trade agreement. Javon Keys of TVJ Business Week was in the Bahamas during the Afrexim Bank annual meeting at which several regional leaders attended.
Now, CARICOM and the African Union are expected to sign a Memorandum of Understanding MOU representing a commitment to creating a free trade area agreement. Now, Ambassador Albert Machanga is the commissioner in charge of economic development and trade at the African Union.
First step in this direction would be to establish a high-level dialogue on economic integration, and this is what we also do in the European Union. We can use the dialogue to also come up with a roadmap on how and when to attain the vision of a free trade area between the two regions.
He says there is some work to be done on the African side before such a deal can be finalized.
There would also be a provision for Africa to go through the process of creating an African Customs Union/common market to establish a base for establishing an African Caribbean free trade area. CARICOM is a step ahead at this stage as they now move towards a CARICOM single market and economy.
A free trade area agreement is a pact between two or more countries to reduce or eliminate barriers to trade, which maintain individual trade policies with non-member countries. A firm decision would be making progress from the Bridgetown, Barbados meeting 2 years ago. Until that is finalized, he says individual member states must make progress on their own agreements, especially those that have already been signed.
Jamaica has signed bilateral investment treaties with Egypt, Nigeria, and Zimbabwe, but none of them is in operation. Barbados has signed a similar treaty with Mauritius, and this was in 2004, and it is in operation. On the other hand, bilateral investment treaties have been signed between Barbados and Ghana, and this is not yet in force.
Another key issue, connectivity.
If you want to come to our region or we go to Africa, we have to go through either New York or Miami or Europe. It's incredible. There is no direct connection. Very few, possibly. That has to increase because people-to-people communication will make trade easier and investment flows easier. It will create trust.
Along with bilateral deals also happening along the sidelines are discussions surrounding private sector financing opportunities and business-to-business partnerships linking Africa and the Caribbean. Reporting from day 2 of the Afro-Exim 31st Annual Conference and their Afri-Caribbean Trade and Investment Forum, I'm Javon Keys for TVJ News from Nassau, Bahamas.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick in association with our friends at
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Keith Rowley has weighed in on the UNC's internal elections and questioned why there was so much animosity amongst themselves on the campaign trail. With an important by-election in Princestown on Monday, the PNM leader urged the voters to look at the UNC's behavior for the reason why they should not win the Lengua Indian Walk seat. Voters there will return to the polls after the seat ended in a tie following a recount during the local government election in 2023. CNC3's Akash Samaru has more from PNM's political rally.
PNM leader is not accepting a deadlock this time around and had a stern warning for candidate Otley Grantham.
Mr. Grantham, you and your father have a habit of cutting the edge, cutting it close to the edge. No more of that nonsense. We want a resounding victory.
Dr. Keith Rowley urged the people of Lengua Indian Walk to send a strong message to the UNC that they are not guaranteed victory just because of the location or ethnic composition of the communities there.
Because they believe that areas like these, certain geographical areas in the country, belong to them. And regardless of how they behave, you will vote for them.
And while the UNC was still tallying votes last evening, Dr. Rowley used their internal elections as a case study of their character.
But I can't leave here without inviting all you into UNC Bacchanal.
The Prime Minister said he was quite bemused to see Prasad Bissasa's treatment of Rushton Parry and company.
The party has elections. You decide to run for the election, and immediately that generates the worst kind of hatred and invective and insult and expulsion from the leader.
The The PNM leader said his party operates quite differently, referencing his conduct when he lost the battle for political leader against Patrick Manning in 1996.
I proceeded to work harder to get the leader elected. We won the election in 2000.
He said if this is how the UNC carries on their internal affairs,
you could imagine what they will do in government.
Both the UNC and PNM candidates for the Lengua Indian Walk district received 1,428 votes following a recount when the PNM's Otley Grantham initially won the seat by 5 votes. Both parties have retained the same candidates for round 2. Akash Samaru, CNC3 News.
13 attorneys were conferred silk at President's House on Monday. Among those awarded were Trinidad and Tobago's Minister of Rural Development and Local Government Faris Al-Rawi, Member of Parliament for Port of Spain South Keith Scotland, and Chairman of WASA Ravindra Nanga. TTT News has more.
The title originated in England and Wales, where senior counsel are called King's Counsel, or KCs, if the reigning monarch is male, or Queen's Counsel, or QCs, if the reigning monarch is female.
President Christine Kangaloo said the honorific title of senior counsel is recognized by the legal profession, and there are several traditions which have grown with the title.
It is a tremendous professional honor. Because it is a tremendous professional honor, the title of senior counsel carries with it tremendous responsibility. The conferral of this honor is the means by which there is created within the legal profession from time to time new bodies of women and men who, by virtue of their honorific title, are formally inducted into the ranks of leadership in the profession.
Minister of Rural Development and Local Government Faris Al-Rawi said in his tenure as Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs he did his best to initiate reform in the law.
That reform actually culminated in quite an event today, having created the Public Defenders Division, put it to work, structured it. The head of that division today received silk, Haseen Sheikh. It shows you that an idea well formed and put together can prosper.
When asked about the current process to be awarded silk, as many are against the current process, he said in Trinidad and Tobago most aren't satisfied with any system in place.
We've had challenges to election petitions, the bare basis of our democracy. We have challenges to everything. This has been the institutionalized pre- and post-colonial system accepted. It depends upon how loud the advocacy or politicking is of the day. I mean, I certainly do think that the persons who receive silk from time to time are subject to public scrutiny. To me, the most sincere obligation here is to see, well, what has your contribution been?
In a notice gazetted on May 13, 2024, Attorney General Reginald Darmour, SC, urged attorneys who wished to be considered for appointment as senior counsel to submit applications to his office by midnight on May 20th. He advised the appointment would be according to the 1964 legal notice, which sets out the procedure for appointing senior counsel or SIL. The last appointment of senior counsel was in May 2023, when 17 attorneys were elevated to the inner bar, among them Cohen Garcia, husband of President Christine Kangaloo. Mahalia Joseph Wharton, TTT News.
There continues to be a high demand for flights between Barbados and Grenada. That's the word from Caribbean Airlines and Intercaribbean, two of the airlines servicing the route. Over time, both carriers have ramped up daily flights. Sales executive in charge of Eastern Caribbean for Caribbean Airlines, Vita Ratan King.
Barbados has now become as a mini hub for us, and we have daily flights out of Barbados to Grenada. Grenada is the Spice Island. So we have a lot of persons going to Grenada, not just for leisure, but we also look at various segments of the market, whether it is corporate, whether it is student travel. As you know, there is SGU, which is based in Grenada. So therefore, Caribbean Airlines ensures that we can provide frequency and capacity.
Intercaribbean's marketing coordinator, Carolina Torres, notes they're also catering for the movements between the two destinations.
We have daily flights between Barbados and Grenada. In fact, we have a multiple flight schedule between both islands, and we provide connectivity and flexibility for those traveling or island hopping. We will continue working to connect Grenada and Barbados with more of the Caribbean.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's a service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.